Hello everyone, DarthHello here with MGM Gaming, how you all doing? And today I have the very first video in a new series that I'm creating, and that's Road to Black Ops 4. And what I want to do is review every single Zombies map from the beginning of World at War to the end of Black Ops 3, and I want to have a fun time, and just basically I wanted to go back and explore all the maps from the start to the end, really map the progress of the series and see where they ended up, because there's so many innovations over the course of the series. It's improved a lot from where it started, so it's going to be hard when I'm reviewing these maps to compare the first maps to the end maps, because I mean the fact is the product just got better as it went along. But I'm going to do my best. I've got set criteria I'm going to rank them on, and I'm going to make obviously like a chart from best to worst as we go along. And so here's the first video. I hope you guys enjoy. The atmosphere of Nacht Der Untoten is brilliant, to be honest. I'm just going to go straight up. I think it's fantastic. You really, when you're playing this map, you really feel like you're stuck in a bunker, you know, trying to fight for your life and protect yourself from all odds against these zombies. There's not much to it, but I think that's kind of the point of this map. At the end of the campaign, they've just chucked you in. You're like, look, you're a forgotten soldier in the middle of World War II. Just good luck. and that's about it. So you don't get much help, you don't get much support, you're just stuck trying to defend this one little bunker, and that's what you got to survive on. In the atmosphere, it's so cool. I really like it. So I've given the atmosphere a 7.5 here on the rankings, because I think it's really great, but I don't think it's the best. I think there's better atmospheres out there in other maps, but I still got to give it a good ranking, because I really feel like this captured me when I was playing this, and I really felt like I was a guy stuck in a bunker, pulled out my sniper rifle, was really trying to stop those zombies from getting in. I had so much fun with it. So the originality is a ranking that I'm going to go through all the maps, because every map brings something to the table, or some maps just feel bland by comparison to what's come beforehand. And so that's why I've put this ranking in. Now, this is their very first Zombies map, so naturally, for originality, it's going to get a 10 out of 10. I don't think there's any disputes about that. It's what created the mode. It created a solid base that's still used today, with the repairing walls, the mystery box, the war weapons and stuff. It's just, you know, it created a good base for what was a great mode, and I can't really say much else for that. So for the setup of this map, I've given it a 3. The reason I've given it a 3 is because there's almost no setup. You don't get the joy of working towards anything, there's not really anything that you want to achieve, and you can pretty much be set up by round 2 or 3 just because you need to open like 1 or 2 doors and buy a gun of war, and that's about it. There's boxing for the ray gun, but I mean, hitting a box a bunch of times I don't really consider a part of the setup process. It's not like you're trying to unlock an area of the map or work towards perks or really try to work towards anything. It's just a couple of doors. So for the setup of this map, I've given it a 3. I mean, it's real simple and easy, but there's just nothing there, and it's not enjoyable setting up on this map. So the next topic I want to talk about, and for me it's something that's incredibly important, it's the flow of the map. So I've given Nacht Der Untoten a 6. Now, it's only got 3 rooms, so you think the flow of the map's really good. And to be fair, the flow of the map is pretty good, but the fact is the map's just not that big, so it's not that interesting to traverse. And also there's lots of problems with corners and objects on this map. So although the flow of the 3 areas, you can move around them pretty easily, you get stuck on little things all the time in the map, and it causes so many problems when you're trying to stay alive. And so that's one of the reasons why I've given it a lower ranking, and also because it's not a very big map. I don't feel like I can give it a really high ranking either, so I've ended up with a 6 here. So the next topic I want to talk about here is the game flow, which naturally is very important. The game needs to be able to flow well, function, you need to be able to play the game without being too bogged down doing unnecessary things, and everything needs to flow and feel natural. So for the game flow, I've given Nacht Der Untoten a 7, which is a pretty solid ranking. Now, a lot of people might be surprised by that, because the big complaint I hear with this map is that it's quite slow, particularly in the first couple of rounds, and I guess it really depends on your gameplay. The way I play this game is after the end of round 2, I will go pick up a sniper rifle, and I'll start sniping with the long sight lines for a few rounds and have good fun with that. Once it gets to about 7 or 8, when the zombies really start getting in your face, I switch to a submachine gun or a ray gun and start killing them, and I feel like that has a really good flow the way I play the game. But that's for one specific type of play. If you don't want to snipe the zombies with a sniper rifle in the early rounds, then you're going to be stuck there waiting and waiting and waiting. So I've given it a good ranking because I feel like for the most part it flows really well. But for those first few rounds, if you're not using a sniper rifle, you're going to struggle a bit. The good part about the flow on this map, though, is there's nothing really bogging you down. All it is just murdering zombies. You know, you don't have to get caught having to go for some crazy objectives or trying to do pack-a-punch or getting perks or anything. It's just murder zombies, and that's one of the reasons why it's got such a good ranking in the game. So yeah. So the next topic I want to talk about here is the game variety. Now, this is incredibly important. Within a map, to make it replayable and for it to be really enjoyable, there needs to be a few different things you can do, a few different ways you can play. It's just incredibly important to have a variety of experiences on a map. If you're going back to do the same thing over and over again, some people really love that. I don't. It's not something I enjoy doing. So that's why I think it's important to chuck game variety in here as a ranking system. So I've given this map a pretty good ranking at a 7. Now, you might be surprised by that, and I expect everyone to be surprised by that, to be honest, because there's not really a lot going on this map. It's pretty small. The only really viable high-round strategy is chaining the spawn room. But they've got the sniper rifle and the long lines of sight, and this is the only zombies map where you can viably snipe zombies at long range and cut them off before they can get to your bunker. And it creates a unique zombie experience, and even within the same game you can utilize that strategy for the first part and then switch strategies later on. So it creates a variety of experiences, and it's something that's unique to this map, and that's why I've given it such a good ranking at 7. So the next point I want to touch on here is something that's ignored by a large part of the community, particularly when reviewing zombie maps, and that is the co-op play of the map. Now, some maps excel when it comes to co-op play, and some not so much when it comes to co-op play. So I feel like it's an important thing to pop in here to rank a map, because it's such an important part, to me anyway, being able to pop in with a mate and just have a good couple of games of zombies. So without further ado, I've ranked this map at a 5. So I don't feel like there's a lot going on this map, particularly when you're playing with mates. I mean, even that training spot in the first room's not that great. I mean, it makes it easier if you're trying to snipe the zombies because you can have someone covering your back, I guess. But really, once you get past about round 12 or 13, the only way you can play this map is by camping in a corner with your mate, which gets kind of boring and old really quickly on this map, because there's not even long lines of sight, so not really interesting spots. It's just not that interesting to play with friends, I think, compared to a lot of the other maps out there. So I've only given it a 5 for co-op play. So the next point I want to get onto here is the difficulty of the map. So this is a very difficult map, particularly for the average player. Now, a lot of us more experienced players now know to abuse the training area in the spawn room, which makes this map really fun and actually quite a little bit challenging, but not too challenging if you know that training spot. But if you're an average player and don't abuse that spot, this map is way too difficult, and there's no real other viable high round strategies. So I've given it a 7 because I really like doing that train in the spawn room, and I feel like it's a lot of fun, and it's a bit of a challenge, but not too hard, but not too easy. But the rest of the map, and unless you know to use that spot, it's just way too challenging for the average player, so I couldn't give it any higher than a 7, but I still feel like it's got a pretty good difficulty. So when you do the thing with the math, this ends up being a map that has an average ranking of 6.56, which I feel like is about right for this map. I mean, it's a pretty decent map that's pretty enjoyable to play, but it's quite bare. But it provides enough different variety and experience, and is challenging enough without being too over the top to make it fun to play and fun to jump on and have a few games with. So I feel like 6.56 is pretty good with it. How our ranking structure works out, this is the first map we've done, so it currently tops the number 1 spot. Congratulations, Nacht. I'm also going to be doing my own personal rankings for each different map. So this is based off a ranking system with different attributes, but my personal opinion, when I'm actually for overall enjoyment, some maps I just like better than others. Even without this ranking system I'm going through, I'm going to make my own ranking system just based off my own complete bias without considering any of these things. So in the actual ranking system, I'm giving this map the first place, and in my own opinion, I'm giving this the first place as well. So this concludes the first video of our road to Black Ops 4. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. It's been DarthHello with MGM Gaming here, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your days. Laters.